Hello again, VC. Second video this week. First one was my Tales from the Crate prize pack opening or contents, which if you haven't seen that, you can go back and watch. There was some really cool stuff in there. I've said this before already, but very generous prize pack from Andrew. Really great channel. Definitely go check that out if you haven't already, which I know I'm preaching to the choir here, because a lot of my subs probably have come from Andrew's direction toward my channel, so I'm really appreciative of that. Again, thank you. Gonna try and make this go pretty quick, considering the amount of stuff there is. This is arguably too many records for a single weekend. But it was, it was my birthday. Some of these are gifts. I got some cash. I got some trade-in value left over from the last time I sold or traded records. And then, what was I going to say? It doesn't matter. Anyways, I'm going to try and make this go quickly, is my point, which I'm already a minute in. I'll go now. I stopped a ton of stores in Austin, Texas. I went on a weekend trip to Austin. I got 345s, which if you have seen my channel, you know I'm kind of a sucker for 45s in the 90s. Which, obviously I love really outdated formats, being as this is a vinyl-related channel. But I think it's kind of fascinating how many 7-inch singles there still were in the 1990s. Being that, obviously CDs and cassettes were such a huge thing, and even CD singles or cassette singles. I think it's pretty cool that so many 7-inch singles were pressed for really large labels and things like that. Anyway, I got 3. These are all from the 90s. First one is the Butthole Surfers with Cough Syrup on that purple capital label. B-side is Jingle of a Dog's Collar. This is, 90s Butthole Surfers, a little more accessible, or I should say way more accessible than some of their earlier stuff. Definitely some outsider music there. These 2 singles from Nirvana, these are both on the David Geffen label, DGC label. First one, classic, Smells Like Teen Spirit. It's got the little jukebox strip there, which I thought was kind of cool. And the store I got these 3 from Breakaway Records. If you've been to Austin, you probably know it. Pretty cool selection there. They've customized the generic sleeves. This one says Bleach is better. B-side on this one is Even in His Youth, which is, I believe, a 9-album B-side. I always appreciate those. And this last one here is Come As You Are from Nirvana, same label. Dave Grohl, early Dave Grohl, writing there on the sleeve. And B-side is a live version of Drain You. Onto the LPs. This one was a gift from my girlfriend. This is the Cramps, Songs the Lord Taught Us. Listen to this on Halloween. It's been said before, great Halloween record. It's got that, it's psychobilly, but it has kind of like a spooky kind of vibe to it, and a lot of the songs are kind of that like 60s aesthetic of kind of spooky songs. Again, that was a gift. These next few are all from End of an Ear Records in Austin. I don't even know if they're End of an Ear Records. They probably are just End of an Ear. Actually, I have a sticker here. That's their label. Definitely one of the coolest stores I've ever been to. So I would say definitely one of the best ones in Texas, and probably my favorite one in Austin. But if you've been there, great selection, great prices on the used stuff, super friendly staff, super knowledgeable. I always stop in there every time I go, which last time I was in Austin, they were still in their old location on, I think it was South Lamar. They moved not too far away. They moved like 5 minutes down the road from there into a bigger space and kind of a slightly newer building. Anyways, these are all from there. Actually, I only got one used record there. This is Black Flag, In My Head. Straightforward Rollins era, hardcore punk, Black Flag. Some of the tracks do get slightly more ambitious or experimental a little bit, a little more out there than typical punk sound. Really solid album. That was $5 there. You know, that's what I'm talking about with the great prices on used stuff there. $5. Condition's not the greatest, but I couldn't really pass that up for $5. This is Japanese Breakfast, their first album called Psychopomp. I've shown their second album, which came out this year. Soft Sounds from Another Planet, that's the name of it. This is the first one, came out I think 2015, maybe like January of 2016 at the latest. Most people would say this one's better than the second one, and I think I would have to agree, honestly. It's more consistent. In general, the songs thematically kind of link together better. It's not like a concept album or anything, but you know, her second album, so it kind of doesn't flow that well. Some of the tracks are kind of disjointed from one another, and that's kind of I wouldn't say it has some emo leanings because the lead singer, which I'm blanking on her name right now, but she's from a band called Little Big League. Yeah, that's the name of the band, and they definitely have that kind of new emo sound, kind of the twinkly guitars a little bit. Anyway, that's a little more straightforward indie rock. Definitely some singer-songwriter leanings there as well. I picked up the new Courtney Barnett and Kurt Vile, A Lot of Sea Lice, which I think something in the liner notes said that they actually consider the name of their band or collaborative project here, the Sea Lice. Cool story with the recording of this. This is kind of recorded over the past couple of years, in chunks, just kind of anytime they could meet up, whenever, because, you know, Kurt's from the US and Courtney's from Australia. Anytime that they were in each other's country, they would just kind of meet up and record stuff. They wrote songs together. They do covers of each other's songs on here, or not covers, but like kind of reinterpretations of some of their older songs. Like they do, Courtney sings vocals on the track Peepin' Tom, which is kind of a reworking of a Kurt Vile song called Peeping Tomboy, where they just kind of switch the gender of the singer. Cool packaging. It's got this interesting fold open cover. Try to show that a little better. It folds open in the middle. Pretty neat. Lots of cool photos and a collage there. Credits. It does also have an insert. This is just the standard black version, by the way. I think there's a couple colorways of this. Lyric insert, more photos. Always appreciate a good lyric insert, and I also appreciate a good polyline sleeve that comes with the record. And this was only, you know, for lots of labels, I feel like, to the packaging aspect alone on this record, with the kind of unique cover, they would easily charge like maybe $24 plus for this. You know, this was only like $17.99 on Veneer. And I think it's about that cheap everywhere. So I would definitely recommend picking that up, or at least checking that out, like on streaming or any way you can listen to it. And then last thing I got there was the brand new album, Science Fiction. This is the indie exclusive color variant on red and blue, so it matches the cover pretty well. There's a lot in here. It comes with like a poster. There's the red. All the labels just kind of look like that. Pretty minimal label. I had already pre-ordered the black version of this, but that has actually yet to ship, even though the album came out like over 2 weeks ago on vinyl at this point. So whenever, I can't cancel that pre-order, but whenever that comes in, I think I'll take it to trade somewhere, or maybe trade with someone online for something else. Blue vinyl looks like that. Pretty cool. Like I said, they match the cover pretty well. Cover's made out of that super thick cardboard, like the heavy cardboard. There's a download code there. A nice Close Encounters reference in the gatefold. And this is embossed, the track listing on the back. And it came shrink wrapped, and it also came with a poly sleeve on the outside with, you know, stickers on it. Be careful not to show my download code. That's it from End of Veneer. Next store I went to, kind of the famous Austin record store, Waterloo Records. They're right on the intersection of South Lamar and 6th Street. Great location, pretty cool store as well. Great used selection, actually. Last time I was there, I didn't find anything used, but you know, their new arrivals are a great place to dig through. I've been eating this one for a while. This is Peter Gabriel's 1980 self-titled album. He has like 4 or 5 self-titled records. This one is referred to as like Melt or Face Melt, something like that. Can't remember off the top of my head right now. Anyways, great album. Kind of famous for being one of the first instances of that gated reverb snare drum sound, which is so indicative of the 80s. There's a great video that Vice Earworm, I think, this kind of music related channel, did a video about that whole studio aspect of recording. Pretty cool art rock or slightly experimental record from Peter Gabriel. Nice upgrade copy of Tonight's the Night. This is the original version on like the textured cover, not the smooth one. I had a smooth one before. Pretty standard release. I think this came out in 75, I want to say. Yeah, 75. And it's on the Black Label, special Black Label reprise. It's got the printed sleeve, but it didn't come with the insert, which I've seen before. Nice, like, you know, $20 copy of this. VG Plus cover is actually one of the nicer ones of these I've seen. The spine on this one tends to get tons of wear on it, but this one's not so bad, and not really any ring wear either, which is kind of nice for a black cover like this. Meat Puppets, Up on the Sun. This is their 3rd album. Kind of essential. I wouldn't say underrated, but often overlooked band. 80s alternative band, the Meat Puppets. Can't really go wrong with this album, or any of their albums really. Their first couple especially. But on the SST label, original pressing, again, super good condition. You can see that. What was I gonna say? Just I wasn't planning on. I haven't been really looking for any Meat Puppets records, but you know, I saw that in the bin. I thought that was pretty cool, so I just picked it up. Last thing, funny story. I've actually never really done this before. I've done this like maybe once with like the Feelies at Doc's Records. They were playing this Feelies album, The Good Earth, and I was asking what it was because I'd never heard it before. But I knew this album already, but they started playing it over the store speakers, and I've been kind of holding out for an original of this, but you know, they're kind of pricey, hard to find. They're usually, you have to import them, and I've heard good things about this remaster actually. So I picked up this new copy remaster of the Stone Roses first album. This is like double LP. It's like 180 gram vinyl, from Modern Classics Recordings or Sony Music. You can see track listing there. Kind of a perfect album. It's up there with some of the best 80s albums. Definitely one of the best 80s debut albums. For fans of, you know, the Smiths, I would even go so far as to say, you know, like Oasis and Blur, and bands like that. They kind of they're like a definitely in the kind of the later new wave sound, alternative rock. They're kind of like a proto Brit rock band almost, just not just because they're British, but they definitely influenced so many younger bands at the time. and just a great album. Like I said, they were playing that over the speakers, and I just impulse bought it. I needed it. Such a good album. This one was a gift from my parents. This is Modern Baseball Sports, their first album. The band is Modern Baseball, the album is Sports. It's pretty straightforward, you know, new emo, which I know the term emo, I say all the time, lots of people hate the term. But what else can you really call this? Like indie rock? That's such a broad, undescriptive term. Anyways, it's on the kind of gray marbled vinyl. You can't really see it that well in the sleeve or in this light. There you go. Much better. Gray marbled. This is like 2013 pressing of this album, which I think is like a 2012 record. They were originally on this super tiny label called Lamo Records. They initially put this album out, and then they were picked up by Run for Cover Records to do like a larger pressing of it. Here's like a fold-out insert. Tons of lyrics. If you've never heard this band before, I would at least check out one song. Probably, I would probably recommend for a good intro, I guess just the song Redo, the opener. There's kind of a twofold or a pair of songs on here that open both sides. There's Redo and then Redone. I would say check out Redo first if you like that. Just go straight through the album. You know, this is a pretty solid album. They have 3 out, and I think they actually just went on hiatus. So, anyways, picked up one I've been needing. This is Fripp and Eno, No Pussyfooting. Super clean copy. I don't know if you can see. It's like in the shrink wrap. It was like near mint. I'm not gonna take it out because I put it in one of those resealable sleeves, and those are a big hassle to open on camera, I'm realizing. So it's on that white Editions EG label. This is like a repress, slightly later repress from, I think, like 1980 is whenever they did all the Brian Eno reissues on that label. Definitely one of his more experimental albums. You know, each side is just one long track. Kind of soundscapes, you know, a little bit electronic, definitely experimental rock or experimental ambitious music. An upgrade copy of All Things Must Pass. This is the first copy of this I've seen that actually had the lid still attached to the bottom part of the box. So that was pretty cool. And also the records are pretty minty as well. I've talked about that album a lot before. Pretty essential. Definitely probably my favorite solo Beatles album. I would consider the song I'd Have You Anytime, the opener, one of like my girlfriend and I's songs, you know. And the last one here, pretty interesting Shel Silverstein album. It's called Songs and Stories. It's basically him. A lot of it's kind of rambly, not rambly, but he has that kind of a spoken word type vocal, kind of either singing songs or just reciting his own poetry. It's all pretty humorous, and he's being real goofy with it. You know, he's having fun, and he's a good songwriter in general. He wrote a lot of classic songs like Boy Named Sue and what's the other one? Cover of the Rolling Stone, which I think was a Dr. Hook song, and kind of got famous for a new generation in Almost Famous, the movie. Anyway, yeah, super interesting album. I'd never seen any Shel Silverstein before. I'm a pretty big fan. I've always been a fan since, you know, I was a kid, with like Where the Sidewalk Ends and A Light in the Attic, those books. And what else did he write? Tons of stuff, like The Giving Tree, a lot more I can't think of right now. Cool album. Kind of cool find to top off the week there. And that's all I got. Really appreciate watching. Appreciate any comments. Let me know if you liked any of that stuff that I showed. Let me know if you checked out any of the songs that I suggested. Appreciate any likes. Again, your views are also quite enough feedback for me as well. Anyway, thanks guys. Take care.